PM versus vendor. Team play for success.
I'm Gabriela Coahla and I have been a certified bilingual translator English to French and Romanian since 2010. I consider myself a beyond words vendor and I love being close to my PMs.
I'm Lucia Gutierrez, a localization project manager with almost 10 years of experience. I have worked in many different LSPs with many different hats, but always focusing on project management, as it is the job I enjoy the most.
Hello everyone, we are back with another special episode.
Hi Gabriela, hello everyone. We've got another duo today with us. So let me start introducing Agostina. Agostina, although she is a freelance translator, she was working briefly as a project manager. So I think her perspective, bringing both sides of the table, can be really valuable for the purpose of the podcast. She's now working from English and Italian into Spanish, and she's specializing in product and digital localization. So she helps other companies with apps, platform, any kind of content for the Spanish-speaking audience. So I think since she's a linguist, but she also brings her project management experience insights, she really can be a good asset to evaluate and to bring insights on communication, expectations, collaborations, and successful partnerships. So hi, Agostina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on this wonderful podcast and alongside Matthieu, nonetheless, which is a huge honor. So, yeah, I have to say I was a bit worried when you guys contact me to be on the PM side of things for this amazing duo because as you said, Lucia, my experience as a PM was very brief, and now I'm a freelance linguist. I'm a bilingual content writer. I'm a product localization specialist. So I think that I feel more comfortable on that side. But I will do my best to bring to remember what it was to be a PM and do as best as I can for this debate.
Yeah, you're going to be playing the devil's advocate today. So.
Oh, no.
From Team Vendors, we are joined today by Matthieu Ledoré. I actually love your last name. It means the golden.
Exactly.
I think. Exactly, yes. You are an English and Spanish into French translator based in France. And you specialize in legal translation, communication, creative content, and subtitling. You help international projects reach French-speaking audiences with elegance and also precise language. You hold a master's degree in translation and multilingual communication from the University of Orléans, and you graduated with the summa cum laude. So, congratulations for that. And yeah. And you also earn an outstanding score on the Voltaire French spelling certification, placing you in the top 0.7%. So again, huge, the golden Matthieu we have here. So I also know you are active in journalism as a rural press correspondent. So that's very nice. And you also teach. You're doing a lot of stuff, Matthieu. I don't know how you do it. So we are very happy to have you today. And thank you for accepting our invitation.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome, really.
Yeah. So, Lucia, do you tell us a bit about the topic, or should I start?
Yes. Today we are going to be discussing again all topics that Gabriela and I already discussed, but we believe that we want to hear other people talking about them, or we believe they need more visibility. So today we are going to be talking about, again, online ranting. So let's see what Agostina and Matthieu has to say about it.
It's a hot topic, I think. So here is the first question for Matthieu, but of course, Agostina, you can also give us your thoughts. So Matthieu, why do PMs and vendors tend to rant about each other publicly on, I don't know, on LinkedIn, in forums, on Slack, in private chats with other colleagues? Why do you think they do that?
Yes, so I think there's deeply a psychological need behind this. I mean, we are a communicative species and we are communication professionals. So that's when we are frustrated, that's one thing we want to talk about. And nowadays it's often done through virtual means. And I'd say it's especially true for freelancers who can have a somewhat solitary job. If you're in a traditional company, well, you can vent with your colleagues. It can even create some team spirit. But when you're working on your own, it's a bit different. And sometimes you can also do it in a constructive way, let's say, and especially on private platforms, but even on LinkedIn, you can be actually trying to find a solution to your problems, to see if other people have met the same problem, because as I said, sometimes we are doing things on our own in our little cave, and we do not know if something is just a me problem or if a lot of other people may be experiencing the same thing. So I'd say deeply there's both this psychological and this practical need that meet to push us to rant online, etc.
That's a fair answer. Agostina, do you have something to add?
Yeah.
Different opinion?
I don't know if I have a different opinion. I have to say, from what I've seen following Matthieu on LinkedIn, I knew before joining on this podcast that I was going to be mostly in agreement with everything he has to say. So yeah, I don't know if I have a different opinion. I think that with everything that's going on, and especially the past 2 or 3 years, LinkedIn has become, LinkedIn especially, has become a place for all of us, whatever our role may be in the language industry, to just speak our minds and share our thoughts. And sometimes it's not in a constructive way as we would like, but I kind of understand where everyone is coming from, because even if you have a team, if you have a team, yeah, let's pretend that I'm a PM right now. No, let's just put myself on the role which I was asked to perform. I know for a fact that let's say that I work in house and I have a team. I have fellow PMs, and I'm always going to be ranting about something, even if it is, I don't know, a client not respecting the rates that I want to propose for my vendors, or if it's the deadline, or if it's, I don't know, the topic. I don't want to, I'm not comfortable working on some projects for some topics or for some industries. And I just need to talk about it, otherwise my head is going to explode. And if I don't, share this particular feeling that I'm having, I'm not going to be good at my job, because I'm going to be super focused on that and how I can change that. It's just talking about it. That's why I'm a huge advocate for going to therapy, because that's one of my other of my safe space to talk about this. So yeah, I think that it's as Matthieu says, a psychological need to discuss the things that are troubling us. And as on the linguist side now, we tend to be, as freelancers, we tend to be mostly alone. So we use LinkedIn, and also, I don't know, when we go to, let's say, a translation conference or a linguist conference, when we meet with people in person, in the flesh, of course, we're going to be talking about good things and how's everything going, and such. But if there is something troubling us, we tend to talk about that. So I don't know if it's such a bad thing. I think that it becomes a bad thing when it's done in a bad way. When people start communicating in a harsh form, maybe even being aggressive, in a bad way. I think that it's just a matter of how you say things and not what you're saying or why you're saying it. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's
It
my
answers.
opinion.
I think we can sum it up in it's like a release of our feelings. So, but now it comes a question that we have to ask it. So I will continue with you, Agostina. When does ranting become toxic, and when can it actually be healthy? Because yeah, ranting is good, but is there a limit? Can it be toxic or healthy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was advanced in my answer because I was expressing
No worries.
when exactly it can become toxic, and I think it's when we cross this limit of just being disrespectful and not taking into account that there are people on the, let's pretend we are talking about LinkedIn, on the other
Mhm.
side of the screen, and the people who read our posts are indeed people. Well, of course, there are also machines, nowadays reading everything, but everything we share is intended to be shared with our community, with our fellow translators, with our clients, with
Mm.
our teammates, with our fellow PMs. So we do not have to lose sight of what we are doing and who we are talking with. So I think that's when it becomes toxic. When first of all, it's the only thing that you talk about, because I don't know, as a PM, you cannot be always bad mouthing your vendors or your clients or your topics or your deadlines or your budgets. You need to try to look for a positive way to look at things. Because if it's the only thing you talk about, maybe just switch jobs, because you are not having a good time doing what you're doing. Or just do something to change that, and make it, I don't know, have a positive impact on the industry and your day-to-day life. Simply. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of how often we are only sharing our negative thoughts, and the way that we are sharing them. Because it can be a completely different thing when you just make like a reality check, before clicking
Mhm.
post, clicking share. Just just review what you're sharing, what you're writing, what you just wrote, and if it's offensive in any way, just don't post it.
Yeah, that's good advice. Really. Matthew, do you have something to add? What do you think is
Well,
toxic and healthy?
yeah, I'm mostly in agreement. I mean, it's a problem when it's against the people, not against the reality, and when it can even lead to bullying, and also when it's you're constantly ranting and you can't move out of this negative spiral. And I'd add that it's also harmful to your career because it can give a very bad impression to your potential clients. I'd say it can be helpful if it helps find a solution, or if it helps inform people about bad practices. I know that recently in France, the sound translators have been ranting about a few things. Well, they haven't been just ranting. they have also been acting, denouncing bad practices, and organizing a petition against some wrong payment conditions from the French government. So that's one way where it can become healthy and push to action.
Yeah. If it's the truth, it's the truth. No? So, yeah. So I will continue with you, Matthieu. You know that PMs complain, vendors complain. But for example, what is one common complaint about our side as vendors that comes from the PMs that you secretly understand? For example, maybe this is something that I learned from Lucia. Sometimes vendors, they ghost the PMs. So I understand that it can be bad. It can be nasty for the PMs when you have some vendors that ghost you from time to time. So what do you think it's fair enough to recognize?
Yeah, one point that is partly related to what you've just said is that maybe it's not true of interpreters or DTP specialists, but I'd say translators, we tend to not be proactive and communicative enough. And
It's
I mean,
contradictory.
yeah, including me. Yeah, that's one thing. We are communication specialists, but sometimes we are not great. I mean, maybe this has to do with the fact that a lot of translators are naturally introverts, and we'd love to just translate and not spend time emailing people on details, etc. But one thing I haven't mentioned in the introduction is that I also interned as a PM for 6 months, so I've seen the other side.
Oh, okay, the enemy.
No, well, the frenemy rather, but really, I think I didn't receive a lot of questions or remarks from the vendors, and at sometimes myself not communicate enough, for instance, on the CPD I attend, because I only briefly communicate about it in passing to my best clients, but a lot of people don't know all the range of services that I can offer, and it can lead to strange situations. So one of my friends, who's also a translator in the same language pairs, so English and Spanish to French, was regularly working with the client in the English to French pair, and one day they asked her, "Hey, don't you know someone who does the same but from Spanish?" And she said, "Well, I do." But if she had been clear in her service offer, maybe they wouldn't have had to ask the question.
So the PMs, when they see that the vendors don't clearly indicate their language pairs, it's true. Agostina,
Yes.
what do you think?
Yeah, it's. I think Matthieu just gave a great like food to me, you know, because I was just thinking about that. Also from I think I want to start answering this question from a linguist side. One of the most typical rants or complaints I hear about PMs from for linguists is that we tend not to when when you see that someone that a PM is looking for a linguist on a specific language pair, one of the typical complaints is people applying for said project not having that said language pair. You know, let's say, I don't know, Lucia is looking for an English to Spanish translator for a project, and I do Spanish to English, and I send her a message on LinkedIn saying, "Hi, I just saw that you were looking for an English to Spanish, and I'm Spanish into English, but can it work?" No, it can't. It can't work, and I think it tends to be a reality because we tend all to be so super fast readers, and we want to just put ourselves, put our foot in the door for this opportunity, and we tend to just double check what we shared, but after we shared it. I think that's one of the main things that happens. I think it also comes from a kind of sad thing to talk about, but I think that it's important that we discuss it. Is that for language pairs that have lots of colleagues working on them, it's just really, really hard to keep up with all the requests and all the project opportunities that are out there. So you just see that someone is looking for something that I don't know, kind of resembles to what you do, and you just go ahead and just put your name, throw your hat in the ring for that. And sometimes you are just not qualified simply because you do not work on that language pair, and that's okay. But I don't know. It is just I could completely understand PMs getting mad on us about that. And at the same time, from the other POV, from the PM side, I think that I could completely understand vendors getting mad when we have to ghost them. You brought that topic, Gabi, to the debate, and I think it's true. Sometimes we have to do it because we simply haven't received an update from the client. I don't know, might have gone back to the client asking for a better budget or for an extended deadline because we simply know that it's not going to be possible for our vendors to tackle that project with just, I don't know, 24 hours deadline or something like that, which tends to happen. I don't know, Lucia, if you
Yeah, it happens.
But yeah, it's something
Even a
that,
3-hour deadline. Yeah.
absolutely. I was being with 24 hours. I was being I don't know, kind of in a dream. I was in a dream talking about a 24-hour deadline for some project. So yeah, sometimes we have to do it because we just cannot keep up with everything that's going on, and we would love to be able to go back to it to everyone that has applied for this project or for this position, and sometimes we just can't. But I would, because I'm on the two sides of the coin. I completely understand hating being ghosted and hating having to ghost someone. So yeah, I think that would be one of the massive complaints that are totally true, and why people tend to hate PMs so much.
We don't want any hate, but this is why we are discussing. And you, with your both POVs, point of views, it's rich for us at least. I don't know, Lucia, but it's double the treat for us for this podcast. And now to conclude this episode that I hope that you liked, I have two short questions, but I don't want you to think. Yeah, sorry, but I want you to give a quick, rapid answer, just yes or no. So both of you, do online rants damage trust in the industry? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Yes or no? quickly.
I think yes.
Yes. And Matthieu?
Yeah, I would have said rather no. It's more the deep underlying problems that they reveal that damage trust. I mean, the scams, the low rates, the lack of respect, etc. But the fact that they are repeated over and over again for some of them damage trust. I mean, we know that there will be very low rates. I mean, there's always been a low-cost segment of the market. But the fact that these complaints are repeated over and over can increase the distrust. But I'd still say it's better than false positivity and giving the impression that everything is fine, which can also be negative.
Yeah. So it's a no and then yes and no. Okay, and the last one, the same. Yes or no? Do they expose unnecessary truths? Yes or no? Yes or no?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I quite get the question, to be honest. Before
So
answering.
when you rant on LinkedIn in Team Translators that we
Yeah.
forgot to mention, that I know Matthieu
Yeah.
is a moderator, do they these rants, do they expose necessary truths? They do always expose necessary truths, or they are just ranting?
Oh, no, I think yes. I think that it exposes necessary truths and some taboo topics. So I'm all for ranting, if it wasn't clear from my answer before.
Yes, your team is. And Matthieu?
Yes, I agree. And I mean, especially when it's done in a constructive way, I think it can be especially helpful for starters, for people who are just starting freelancing, because I mean, even if they have a specific education, there are a lot and lots of things that you don't learn in university or in courses, and that's where you can get informed when you see a more experienced colleagues ranting about bad practices, which as a starter you may believe is normal. And that's when you learn about what is normal and what isn't, essentially.
I agree with you. I learned a lot from rants. I think we covered a hot topic, I think, because we see that more and more. So thank you for answering our questions. I hope they were not too personal. No. Thank you very much. Lucia, if you have a word
Yeah,
you want to
Agostina,
share.
thank you for getting into this, because I know you're not very comfortable as a PM, being on the PM side. But as we've been saying, I think it's really it's a rich experience. And Matthieu, I didn't know you were also on the dark side, so
Only for
I don't know
6
if I
months.
should congratulate you or not. But I didn't know that.
He's a PM, he's a vendor, he's a journalist, he's a teacher, he's a moderator. I don't know how you do it, because moderating requires diplomacy, and I'm not at all diplomatic. I could never be a PM. I think I would send some very ugly emails. So yeah. And Agostina, it was a pleasure, because your publications are always top notch. So thank you.
No, thank you so much. Yeah, I was honest when I said that I didn't feel as comfortable coming from the PM side, but I was literally just right now thinking that we are all PMs in a way, because sometimes when we work for direct clients, our direct clients come asking for colleagues on different language pairs, and we have to recruit them, and we have to think of someone that might, be perfect for the role, and that we know that are going to be reliable, and that are going to be a perfect match for the work that we are doing for, I don't know, in my case, English or Italian into Spanish. So I think that we are at the end of the day, we are just service providers, and we want to do what's best for all of our clients. And that can be being localization specialists, subtitlers, DTPers, marketing agents, salespersons, recruiters, PMs, or whatever they need. So I think that we are all kind of PMs in a way. So thank you.
That's a big word. Matthieu, again, thank you. Hope you enjoy it.
Yes,
Agostina,
thank you for the invitation, really.
Lucia, get well soon. And good luck with all your projects. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was amazing.
Till next time.
Thank you, guys.
What you've heard are just our personal opinions. We by no means intend to impose our personal views on anyone. Feel free to disagree, throw tomatoes at us, or just drop a comment to let us know. Thank you!